Okay, I'm going to call the Thursday, December 15th Parks and Community Services Committee meeting to order. First on the agenda, we have approval of the minutes from the November 17th meeting. And we have Les on Zoom. Morning, Les.
Good morning.
Hi.
I move to approve the minutes of November 17th meeting.
I second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, thanks. Next, we have public comment. Would anyone want to make any public comment? That's if we have anybody sign up? No. Okay. Okay, so the first item on the agenda is the monthly State of the Parks report. And before we start that, we would like to honor Jo for her service to the city. As we all know, she's retiring. And Jo, we'd like to thank you for everything that you've done for the parks. It's going to be strange not seeing you watering the flower baskets and putting up the lights with Kirk about how you're going to put up the light. So we have a little tradition in the Parks Committee that we write a little ditty for you. So here we go. In the festive season here, City Hall is busy and dressed in holiday style. In the air, there's a feeling of retirement. Citizens laughing, staff passing, meeting smile after smile. And in every office corner, you'll hear, Jo's retiring, Jo's retiring. It's retirement time in the city. Say goodbye. Thanks for all. Soon it will be retirement day. Strings of holiday lights that Kirk and Jo strung blink a bright red and green as the staff and the citizens speaks of Jo's amazing service. Hear her praises and a big thank you from the Parks Committee bunch. This is Jo's big scene. Above all this bustle you'll hear. All together now. Jo's retiring. Jo's retiring. It's retirement time in the city. Say goodbye. Thanks for all. Soon it will be retirement day. Thank you very much. We have a little gift for you of some homemade soap from one of our many talented Parks Committee.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, and we also have a delivery, but it isn't coming till later. It won't be here till about 9:45, and I know that you probably don't want to stick around for the entire meeting. So we'll make sure that you get your flowers. Thank you.
Enjoy your
Unless you
retirement.
want to stick around.
I want to. Oh, we just had breakfast.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, though.
Just a second.
Excuse me?
I just wanted to personally thank,
I'm kidding.
she's been with the Parks Department for 17 years.
Yep.
Almost as long as me, and she and I had a history of working together at the Driftwood before we came to the city, so we worked together for 26 years. And she's gonna be missed, and she's made my job a lot easier, and despite all the shit she gives me. She's doing her pretty good.
All right.
Thank you, Joe, for everything.
You could. Okay.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Joe. We have to beat out of a lot of stuff, yeah. Okay, so now we have the official monthly State of the Parks report.
Good morning. I'm not gonna have to say. Been in a day, bring up holiday lights. You already covered that.
Yeah, and did I get it pretty closely?
Yeah. We do lights every year in the varies, so we got them this year. Joe and I did it. They're all still working.
And it's very beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks. We've done, of course, ongoing state maintenance. I don't need to elaborate much about that. We've been two of us have been working on cleaning and organizing the park shop. And kind of, it's kind of a storage area as much as anything, and new machines coming along eventually. That would be kind of appropriate to get rid of about 6 pickup trucks worth of stuff we don't use anymore, find new homes for it, or throw it away, clean up and take the last out, and it's looking better than it has been a while. That, again, I have to thank Joe for a lot of that. A while ago, I think I mentioned, well, the citizen complained about the condition of the Lewis and Clark interpretive signs at Les Shirley. I cleaned them, and I think Karen called apparently I didn't talk to her. Apparently she called the Lewis and Clark Trail Association. We can do that. Anyway, those 2 signs at Les Shirley are brand new. And they're beautiful, and they aren't exactly the same. The colors are better. And the graphics are a little clearer. Anyway, I guess the Lewis and Clark Trail Association, Oregon chapter, installed them. One of them's either got a new base and new concrete footing. I don't know.
Nice.
We'll do that or not, but one of them, well, they both show recognition of, this is what I noticed most of all. Unlike the old one, they recognize the location of every Native American tribe that Lewis and Clark's territory passed through. But they're identified all over the western United States. Anyway, they're groovy signs, and I was disappointed in the old ones. They were really worn out, but I just was pleasantly surprised to see them there. So when you let Shirley check them out.
Wow.
This happens every once or twice a winter. Is we go to our park shop and have to get out and pull the ball and look into the skate park bowl, and it was about this deep in water. It's a
Wow.
swimming pool. There's a nice drain there, but it gets plugged up with debris once in a blue moon, once on purpose. But that's always kind of fun to get your waders on and with you and be a little kid and drain the sun up. And what else? I spent, Joe quit this a couple of years ago, but I spent 3 days at the Rose Garden with Robin Truman and Lloyd. I'm going to top dress it tomorrow, but that's an annual summer event. So it takes a while, but it's kind of rewarding when you're done. Joe's leaving, and I'm going to cut back to halftime.
Okay.
Are you serious?
Will you still be representative to the Parks meeting or?
We just talked about that last week, and apparently I will. I think I might be bringing an unknown sidekick with me.
Great.
The new hire will be here also, but Kirk will be.
Okay.
listening to go over.
Great.
So we can kind of see the flow and meet everyone.
Do we know who it is?
No,
We're still interviewing.
Okay, good. Okay. Anybody have any questions?
I have a comment. So Mike and I went over to the end of Washington Street on the ocean side, and we cleared the blackberries out of there. But we didn't get a chance to replant any grass, and that culvert is still there. So I don't know if it's a thing that is a safety issue or not, but
The culvert, all those outfalls, we're always constantly maintaining them with the shifting
well,
sand.
I don't.
this is not a.
No,
culvert.
this looked like a steam shovel came in and just scooped out a big, chunk.
It's an eroded.
We just need some sand there, or
Yeah, if we could put some sand there, I'll show you a picture after the meeting.
or just some grass too, just to get that growing. I mean, I think if you just
I
put
know, I
sand,
saw
people are gonna
it,
keep
yeah.
walking down.
just show me a picture afterwards, okay?
I will.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, anything else? And Amy, I see you have joined us, so welcome. Okay,
Hello, thank
Hi.
you. I'm just home with my sick son, so
okay. Have fun.
listening in.
Okay. Okay, so next on the agenda, we have Rick Hudson here to talk to us about the whiskey cache site. And we had some discussion at our last meeting, and we decided it's best to hear from the source as to what the plans are. So,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for the invitation.
yeah, needs to be brief, of course.
Of course.
I'm not even giving you your 10 minutes.
That's good.
Whoa.
I do like this Game of Thrones table. up here.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for what's next behind it, right? So the whiskey cache site is all about water delivery. That whole thing, along with the ECFR, protecting the watershed, is all about having the ability to have resources already in place And when you have resources already in place to start taking care of emergency efforts, it's a safe operation. When you don't, then you have to quickly move operations out there to try to figure it out. And it's messy and it causes a lot of damage. So the Whiskey Cache site is all about getting things in place out there, having them safe, having them in the right location to where when the city needs water at an emergency level, it can be already deployed from that site. And there's not a lot of room in other locations, and that's why the Whiskey site is so valuable. There was already power out there. We figured out the ability to get to enhance the water treatment plant by adding satellite internet, which didn't happen out there. And we're also putting a cellular booster out there so the crews and people can actually make phone calls out there in case there are emergencies. And we're really proud of, putting that site in place and putting the equipment out there. And all the equipment's not done yet. That site's not totally developed, but it's not going to look much different than it does right now. So that was the important part about developing that site is it's all about water and how we move it if we move it.
How does it get moved from that location?
So what we're going to be putting out there is I was fortunate enough to get a grant through the state for a water trailer, 500-gallon water trailer that will be put inside those Conex boxes. And we're also going to purchase another one. And also we're going to be purchasing and building a water filtration trailer. So when you have at least a minimum of 2 water moving vehicles, to where you got to do is hook it up to the truck, put the filtered water in and take it to either cache sites or a water distribution location that we choose. That's what we're going to be putting in there. At least those minimum, those 3 trailers that fit in those boxes. It's going to probably take us about a year to build the filtration trailer, but we'll probably get the water trailers put in those boxes, the water tank trailers put in those boxes within 6 months. But the key is to have them out there all the time. And then we would take a vehicle from Public Works and hook it up and tow them wherever we need them.
So when you say a water filtration trailer, so you're building the mechanism that you would get the water from the creek and then it would go through this trailer
Yeah.
and then it would go into these trucks and then be
Moved. Distributed. So one of the advantageous places why we picked the Whiskey Cache site is how close it is to the river. And so when you build a water filtration trailer, you can actually just put a sump or a device that will pull water from the trailer or from the river. It'll filter inside the trailer and then be put in and then be redistributed into the mobile trailers and then moved out. And so you have just only a few moving parts, and that's what makes it a real safe operation and very advantageous to that location. Even if we didn't use the river, we can also use the ponds, water treatment ponds that are there, which are not potable drinking water as they sit there. They have to go through the whole filtration system, right? And then they get put in and they back up the current system. But with the water filtration trailer, we can pump directly out of those ponds and not even go to the river. So there's another value of having it right there.
So Les or Amy, do either of you have questions of Rick?
Crickets. Okay. You guys have any other questions?
Well, I just want to understand all of this, if you don't mind. I've got a couple, just the look of that area. Is there any plans or sensitivity to maybe trying to, because you walk up there and then here's this big monster development, and just wondering if there's any way to soften that.
I actually
Has been thought of.
personally with this artist community is, and I'm not artistic. You see what I built. Very commercial, right?
Yeah.
And it's very basic. I would love to see even some murals painted on those things to make them blend into the scenery and make them beautified.
Mhm.
I don't have the ability to do that because I'm not that creative individual, but I would be totally open for doing that.
Mhm.
What does not work at that site would be planting trees.
Yeah, we gotta keep it
We
open.
don't want to have any trees planted in an area that you might have refugee encampments where we have to actually put up tents to put people in. You don't want to do any of that in that immediate area, and you don't want to be, and the reason why we picked that spot is because it's already a cleared spot that's by the power lines. So it's already open naturally and it needs to be maintained that way. But to beautify the boxes themselves, I would love to see all of our cache sites be considered for artistic value somewhere. I think that would be fantastic. Some of the buildings that we have, like at Oscar or at Tango, that are physical buildings, they're of course painted and they're kind of what they are. But the Connex boxes in general, I would love to see us look at something to where we can make them.
That's a good idea.
But not being an artist, I think when I would start this
Right.
community,
Yeah.
by all means, it's the city's resource, not mine, city's resource. So if we ever wanted to be creative with that, I would love to see that improve.
A great idea.
Yeah.
The ones out.
I
of the
love
way.
that idea. Also, I would love to help facilitate putting together a list of potential artists or budgets if that's of interest.
That's great, Amy. Thank you.
The ones at the water treatment plant wouldn't need to go through DRB, but the others might.
Because it's out of the city limits.
Right.
Right.
Well, we're, along with that idea, Amy and I are working on signage, interpretive signage. We could have a mural that depicts what's going on in the ECFR as far as, beavers or, something that's very topical. So when people see it, they're getting a little history of the,
Yeah.
yeah.
I say let's focus just on the ones that are at the treatment plant.
Right.
Yeah.
From now.
But
Right.
Yeah.
But overall, that's probably the best use of that site out of all the sites that we have, and we were fortunate enough to take all of the council and elected officials on a citywide tour of how the network works with the emergency operations centers and then all the cache sites in the radio center. Out of all the sites, the one at the whiskey site probably would be the most fun to beautify. Because it's in the perfect spot to do it. The other ones are kind of
Hidden.
not only off the beaten path, but they're already painted or fit into a certain color scheme. But the one at the whiskey site would be great to see how that could be enhanced. And there's not any more building going out there. There's going to be a propane tank added to the back location of one of the Connex boxes, and then we are going to add a shelter around the pit tank for toilets, emergency toilet usage. And those also can be beautified. There's no reason why that whole thing can't be melded into the scheme of the woods.
Good.
Great. And then one final question from anyways is, do you see a point where we will be ready? I mean, and the cache sites will be enough for what you might predict for a catastrophic event
I'll be honest with you, we're pretty close. And that's the reason why I've had my head down as far as I could on the grindstone, just driving over the past 3 years. We're at a point to where we've built a certain amount of resiliency and self-survivable and sustainability into a program. And I'll be honest with you, it's second to none. There's no other small community, I would say, on the coast at even more than that has the amount of resiliency that we have in our cache site system and that network. The next part is how do we get the community to understand that, respond to that, have confidence in that. That's the next wave of doing that. But the important part is to get exactly where you're talking about is you can't have it be theory any longer. You have to make it reality. And we've done that and we're close. We're very, very close to having that to be a real sustainable option and self-sufficiency. And it includes these backup systems, these water backup systems that we're talking about, all these little things. But I think we're very, very close. Even if the event happened today, we are in a total different place than we were when I first got here in 2019.
Yeah.
And I think the value of what happened in this community is this community's been working on city and community safety for a very long time. And so it already had a decent footprint.
Mhm.
It just needed to be dealt with. And I think we did a good job of committing to it.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
Okay, any other further questions? Okay, great. Thanks,
Thank you,
Rick.
guys.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you. Okay, next we have right-of-way tree removals, which is a standard agenda item, and we had nothing to report, so that's good.
Are there 2 trees that are,
Oh, were there two?
I think there's 2 that are,
In fact, okay.
yeah.
Sorry.
It came in later.
Oh,
revised.
okay. Didn't get that part. So any
two
questions on
alders.
any of that?
So the applicant for those tree removals, or is it, I mean, it's an LLC, but it's a private property and they just need the alders removed? I haven't had a chance to do a site visit over there, but
It's up on Ash Street,
Hmm.
north of the Ash Street pump station there in between
Okay.
7th and 8th.
okay,
The contractor's gonna be building a house there where the road ends. He's gonna be building a house there and this tree is dead. It's right next to the power pole where he's gonna have to pull power to the job site and to the new residence he's building. This right-of-way tree permit will not be signed off until his building permit has been submitted and accepted. So he doesn't have the authority, since he's submitted the right-of-way tree removal, he can't just cut the tree down
Hmm.
and then the project never happens.
right.
That's contingent on him applying
Hmm.
his building permit and then also being accepted.
Great. Thank you.
We're just trying to get all the legwork done, so when he submits, he's ready to go.
Sure. Makes sense.
Okay, any other comments on that? Okay, next. Oh,
Barb,
go
can you
ahead.
hear me?
Yes, Les.
Oh, I wasn't sure you could hear me from my prior comments. Did, Trevor did
didn't.
the,
Les, we haven't heard any prior comments.
I was afraid of that.
Okay.
I'm on my phone and I'm not real good at it.
You're on
Um,
the beach, Les, come on.
Actually, I'm in a parking lot in Lubbock, Texas, which is far from the beach.
Well, it looks like you're lounging on the beach, having a
Yeah.
beverage.
Well, only in my head. Trevor, the tree removal, the alders that were going to be cut down up at,
Yeah.
in the ECFR, has that been done?
It hasn't been done yet. I'm predicting that's gonna be done mid-January. My contractor who does our tree removals, he'll be in town at the beginning of January on a private property project.
Okay.
I'm hoping to tag along when he's in town and get him up there and get a game plan.
Thank you, Trevor.
Anything else on either of those topics? Les?
No, the
Okay.
comment I tried to make when Rick was there was just to tell him I appreciated him coming in.
Oh, okay, great.
So I'll reach out to him.
Okay, thank you.
And I think the arborist recommended some replanting of the trees up there. Do you know if where you guys are going to do that yet, or, okay,
It's gonna be right on the corner. We're gonna kind of start there because hopefully I'm gonna be adding on to this.
mm-hmm,
It's one of my nuggets that I always try to get for Earth Day,
mm-hmm,
but I want to get 3 or 4 of them established. We're gonna look to see if we can find some semi-mature ones to start with.
Mhm.
And we're gonna go from there.
great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good, okay. So next, I just want to give everyone a update on our Tree City USA application. First, I'd like to thank the city staff for all of their help in getting it done. We have 2 things that we need to still address with them with the application. And one of them is to submit an annual work plan as to what the city and the Parks Committee is going to do to promote tree preservation. And we're going to send them our heritage tree program criteria. And then the other thing that they need is kind of a definition of how the Parks and Community Services Committee works as the tree board. And so I'm working on that, get those 2 things submitted, and then we'll be notified probably in early January whether or not we get our Tree City USA program renewed. And then during the 12 days of Earth Day, we'll do a ceremony again to put up the extra year.
And you always do, excuse me, you always do the children planting trees.
As part of the
Yeah.
12 days.
And I was wondering this year, we could maybe have some adults and children planting in the ECFR, maybe in our Blackberry area.
Oh, yeah, that'd be, and plus Trevor's always on the lookout, just as he said.
I kind of want to do this season that's coming up season. I want to do it in the ECFR.
Oh, good.
I like to do
Okay.
planting up there. I mean, in town, it's real tight.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of spots.
Right.
But I think it would be a good experience for the kids to walk in there and take it all in and plant some trees.
Yep.
So
Okay,
Are you gonna still be our leader after January?
no, this is my last meeting. So, but I will always, my heart will always be with you guys, so
Ah,
I can come in and advise.
Yes.
Please.
Hmm,
Oh, I know.
huh.
Okay.
This meeting should be sitting.
That's great.
Okay, so next we have the Heritage Trees Program. Again, thanks to city staff for getting it on the city website. Do we have any? Have we had any?
I haven't been able to go out and take a look.
Okay,
I'm gonna be meeting with Jeff Gearhart next week. And I'm gonna have a brief discussion with him about this.
okay, good. So make sure we continue to talk it up amongst.
So we haven't had.
We're accepting
We
applications.
are accepting applications, right? It's,
I would encourage everyone to kind of go over the Spruce Reserve. Take a look over there. Okay. I do have some private time with Jeff. I'm gonna take him over there, but
To the forest,
next week it's business for
the
him.
Spruce Reserve.
yeah,
Over by Monroe Street in between the treatment plant. Yeah.
yeah, the trail.
Is that a place that's been nominated?
Spruce Reserve.
Yeah, years ago, the Parks Committee named it the Sitka Spruce
Reserve.
Reserve,
Okay.
right?
And Jeff talked about. He wasn't into the details of the Heritage Tree Program, but he talked about. Areas, sections of trees, the stand of the trees. They talked about the old ancient cedars, which are. Of course, way up in the watershed outside the city limits. The Sitka Spruce Reserve. Has got an interesting history where it was supposed to be in.
Yeah.
Developed over and
Right.
over again. One administration in great foresight back in the 90s. Rezoned it from IN to open space. That helped preserve it. But there's still a historical center, it has its foundation in there still,
Mhm.
big old concrete foundation, which
Yep.
would be tough to get rid of. Anyway, that's something to consider as a neighbor, as a group, as a stand, not any individual tree, but
I absolutely agree with
there's
that.
not a lot of that's bigger stand or size of Sitkas, old Sitkas on this side of 101.
One of the things that I like, that's one of my favorite places in the town because I used to take the children in there and play. But I think it's actually being overrun with invasives and maybe that's a place we need to. As much as blackberries are coming in there, holly, ivy.
Yeah, in the past, we've had lots of.
Yeah,
artists.
we have.
We've been killing ivy in there for 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually we killed a lot of holly. The holly goes back, you don't pull it out.
Yeah.
The ivy goes back too, but that's easy to keep.
Yeah, it is.
Easy to keep a handle on. Actually, I think 2 years ago, there wasn't a bit of ivy in there. I mean, there had been, but.
But you had.
I remember getting some old growth ivy like this big around.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Elk
tough.
will eat ivy.
Holly is a tough one because you can cut it, keep cutting it, but if you cut a holly tree, it comes back like this, 12. So
Have to dig it
I
out.
should say this, but I've had good luck with other holly trees that are bigger, cutting them down and using an auger and drilling holes in them, filling it up with poison, putting a cork in it. And that will kill them, but
Okay.
don't talk about, you know.
Yeah,
herbicides.
I just worry about it because I think it's such a beautiful place and
But
yeah,
well, it's gonna have an ongoing between blackberries, holly and ivy. It's never gonna end, but it's nice to get a grip on it and get a couple of young people in the parks department, maybe they'll do a better job.
Well, yeah, that's where I could foresee that it would be
Right.
an area that would be maintained and.
Yeah.
and,
Well, these-
Reserved if we can give it
you did
heritage tree status.
Ivy Pool.
Ivy pulling, that was one of the stations they've done before.
Yeah. So I think a good Well, Days of Earth Day event would be to have a work party in
that's a
there.
great idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So remember that.
Oh, I will.
Okay. the Little Free Library, I don't think we have anything to report on it right now, in Stacy's absence, so.
What are you waiting on a plan?
Plan, right, and Stacy's been the contact for that, so we'll continue to put that on the agenda and get a report on it. So next we have the community grant application, and this is the meeting where we look at all the materials that are going to go to the people that are going to request grant dollars this year. And so we need to make sure it's ready to go. So I think probably, obviously, in the timeline, we're going to change Kelsey's name to Tessa's name. And then last month, we approved by consensus the little letter we were going to send. And I would like to ask if you could do that for us. Send it to, right, yeah. Okay, so the little letter that it reminds them it's important to come to the presentations,
Yeah.
get that out. So I'm thinking one of the things that we need to decide on is, and we talked about it at the last meeting, is the awarding of the checks. And, it's always been my contention that we try to schedule the potluck as early as possible and give them the checks during the potluck. So anybody have any comments on that?
I think that's a good idea. Just kind of a celebration of giving on, and so also encourage people to come.
Right.
So
Can I ask what the date of April? I mean, is it usually always so late that the applications are received? Or, I mean, would it be possible to get the applications in sooner so that we could have this celebration maybe before summer so that we're not trying to?
Well, that's just when the applications are due. And then in the May meeting, we interview.
Right, but it
And
just
then
seems like
the
it's a
June-
long process that if it I'm just wondering why it starts in April rather than say February if we're ready to
It's
send out.
the announcing
packets.
of the grant application starts in February. And then we give the organizations a couple of months to get the grants, the proposals ready. Because we have to remember, a lot of them are nonprofits that you have volunteers doing that. And then they're due in April. We do the interviews in May. And then we make our decisions in June and submit them to the city council because it's a city council final approval.
Right,
So changing that in terms of most of the people that are asking for the grants, most of their fiscal years end in June, as does the city.
well, that's what I was trying to find out if there's a particular,
Yeah, I think there's a good reason why we have the schedule as it is.
okay.
And we have always held the potluck in mid-September
Mhm.
just to avoid the summer, but I think if our intent is to get them their checks at about the same time, then the trade-off is we're going to have a potluck in the summer.
and it's also, it's a lot of work for us to read all those.
Oh, yeah.
And that's during Earth Day also, so it's kind of like. a
Well, that's what
really busy time.
that's why I'm wondering, if this could be pushed up to even March, so that I remember last year that, the community grants and then Earth Day were all kind of happening
It's just
at
hard to-
once and just
yeah.
trying to see if,
Yeah,
I think
grants are hard to,
it's
Hard to write.
it's time consuming for the organizations.
they have to pull their numbers together and.
Yeah. And I mean, there's some tradition that organizations, nonprofit organizations work in cycles. And this traditionally has always been this timeline, and the other cities have that same kind of timeline for their grants. Plus the funding is always in the for the city is always in the next fiscal year. So bumping them up, we've already spent our budgeted amount for this year,
Mhm.
because our fiscal year ends in the end of June. So there's lots of underlying reasons why we have the schedule like we do.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
Les or Amy, do you guys have any input on the scheduling?
Barb, I think I could just agree that if we could hold it sooner, earlier in the year than mid-September, that would be a good thing. I just don't know what all the, what needs to go into making that happen.
I think we just changed the schedule. So if we're looking at the schedule that was in our packet, on August 12th, it says this date is approximate, letters and checks sent to grant recipients. We would change all that to say that we would schedule the potluck to happen around mid-August. And so we would just change that verbiage if everyone's in agreement with that. Amy, do you have it? Pardon me?
I was just saying, I think I would be.
Okay. Amy, do you have any comments on any of it?
No, just that I'm a proponent of including the food and drink to make it festive and fun.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay, so it looks like by consensus, we're going to change that process. And then is there anything else in any of that grant packet? I've spent a lot of time last year completely revising it. And I think the revisions that we made it a lot easier for
Yes,
everyone involved.
yes, it was much better.
Yeah, but this is kind of our final chance to make any changes.
Mhm.
Anyone?
The only thing that was a hiccup last year was that last little dinner thing, and that everything else seemed to go pretty
Right,
smoothly.
yeah. And I think the schedule of having that extra meetings that we have
That helped.
helped a lot
Yeah.
too.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I just want to clarify logistically, so I'm just going to change the dates to basically match these, but for 2023.
Right,
It looks like our council meeting for August next year will be the.
Okay.
So those letters can go out that week. Plan the ceremony for, say, the third week of August, so if they have time to arrive in the mail.
Mhm.
That's something.
right. But then the checks aren't going to go with, right, it'll just be the letters and then the checks will get presented.
And you're talking about this, the letter that you're gonna send. At the bottom, it'll talk about award checks will be distributed mid-August, so we have to change that sentence to,
Right, that will
Yeah.
change, when they go out to potential applicants.
Yeah.
And then we send letters after council approves the awards, at that August meeting, and I just want to make sure that those go out early enough to get to them. Just to remind them that they need to be there mid-August for the ceremony, so,
perfect, yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah, and we'll have to also make sure that we work with the chamber to get an open date. Though most of the time, or all the time, the potluck is during the week. And I think the community center is a little bit busier on weekends
Okay,
during the summer.
all right.
Okay, so thanks, Tessa, for all those revisions. And then at the January meeting, we'll approve the final packet with all of those changes. So make sure that we've got them all. And I don't know if we'll need to put in there anything about COVID restrictions. Hopefully we're done with that.
Oh, again.
You can go ahead and just put them on the table. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much, thank you.
Thank you. Then we'll go find where Jill's working today and present them to her in the field. Okay, and then the last item on the agenda is 12 Days Birthday Street Fair just a reminder that we set a date for the 12 days and for the street fair. And Betty, do you have any?
Pacific Power is very excited to
They
attend.
really are, yeah. Yeah.
And they're gonna be giving trees away?
They're not giving out physical trees, they're gonna be giving out vouchers, 7Ds.
Oh, wow.
People will be able to,
Is it just, wait, how is that gonna work? First come, first serve or?
they're gonna have a lot of vouchers.
Yeah, they've really
Really
committed.
excited about this, and it gives them an opportunity to talk to the public about power lines and distances and stuff like that. So I think it's
A great educational opportunity.
Oh, I was
they're
just,
excited.
I was thinking too of getting incentives for people coming to the Earth Day events. If they did like the work day at Spruce Forest, or they help plant trees, or they help with the beach cleanup,
Yeah, they are.
maybe they could get one.
Oh,
of
she
those.
coming?
I mean, I don't know the vouchers. I don't know. Do you think that we could incentivize people who's working in the city with the vouchers, or is that overstepping?
I think that's something we should think about and
Yeah,
discuss.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah.
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 Hey, a little, you have a sweet, you're welcome.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Your truck's out there.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay, you freak. Thanks again, Joel. Thank
Come maybe.
But it was nice to see it out there. I didn't know.
I took it for a while.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next week.
I'll see you tomorrow, Christmas party.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sorry, we digressed a little.
That's really good news. I have to talk to you about that, though.
Yeah.
So, yes, I guess we haven't decided on where we're gonna have the street fair, but we were gonna, if possible, we were gonna have more hands-on experience for children and adults.
Right.
And we were talking about possibly somewhere out of the main city. We were talking about maybe Gower Street or this area someplace
I think the best place for foot traffic is downtown.
downtown.
The
Okay,
exposure is gonna be a lot more.
okay. I know we got complaints last year, so
Yeah,
We had a comment, I would say that.
we had to.
Well,
We
I
had a
think she-
concern from one of the businesses.
Yeah.
And I went and talked to them and, one of the requests is for them, they asked if we could look at some other alternatives.
Yeah.
So I think that's something we discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we, and I see.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. So we're good with postponing that decision on where we're gonna be.
Right, yeah. I mean, I think in January meeting, besides approving the grant packets, we'll need to really start appointing the 12 days committee as we've done in the past and
Okay,
get going on the stuff.
okay.
Okay,
What is the date for the street fair?
it's on Earth Day.
Earth Day.
July 2nd. Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
And that's a
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah. Okay, so the last thing on the agenda is good of the order, and I just want to remind people that on Monday, this coming Monday, December 19th, the OWEB tour of the reserve for the grant is happening. And it's from 1 to 3, and we're gonna meet at City Hall. And then I think Bob Lundy's gonna shuttle us in his van. So Graham will be here, and he reminded us that we might be crossing some water, so to wear waders or rain boots.
Okay,
And whatever the weather is, we're still going, because OWEB's bringing their
okay.
people in. So any questions on any of that? Les, are you gone still? I mean, obviously you're gone today, but you're not back?
No, I won't be.
Okay.
And I regret that, but I didn't know about this trip until about 2 days ago, and it's way too
Yeah.
late to make
It was,
changes.
right, it was really late notice, but.
Yeah.
But we talked about it at the watershed council meeting that had to happen soon. And so
Yeah.
it's happening. And Amy,
Well-
you're welcome to join us if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm sorry. When is this happening and what is it?
It's the Watershed Association and the city have applied for a grant with OWEB. And one of the things they have to do is go on a tour of the area. And
I
so
see.
that tour is this coming Monday, December 19th, from 1 to 3,
Okay,
and we meet at City Hall.
As for the beaver restoration.
The Beaver Restoration Grant, right?
I see. Unfortunately, I won't be in town for it, but I'm sorry to miss it. I did have one question, if I could, to bounce back to the Earth Day events. I'm sorry I
Sure.
missed. I had a question in terms of thinking about adding other like hands-on events and sort of educational aspects, knowing that I'm new to this. Is it appropriate to reach out and loop in the Cannon Beach Arts Association and see if we can kind of partner and have some classes in conjunction with them, that maybe they bring in an artist to do something that's kind of nature-based?
Yeah, I mean, this committee organizes the 12 days, and we kind of start out, I mean, we have some traditional things that we do, as the street fair, the parade, planting of the trees, but we start out with a clean slate every year and just try to make it bigger and better. So involving organizations are a great idea.
Okay, cool. Do
And then
you
usually
mind if
after
I
we,
reach out?
oh no, you're part of the committee and we
Okay.
welcome that.
Great.
Yeah, so the dates are April 11th through the 22nd.
Okay.
And the only thing that we have firm in the schedule right now is that the street fair will be on that Saturday, Earth Day, April 22nd.
Great. I marked my calendar with those dates. Thanks.
Uh-huh.
One comment about education. Amy and I met with Doug Drury yesterday, and we're talking about the interpretive signage, but also before that signage, we wanted to figure out the educational portion of the ECFR, and to keep us from overrunning, loving ECFR to death. We were
Right.
thinking it would be wonderful to connect with the new school renovation area for doing classes for the ECFR. And so that, anyway, we're putting a proposal together for that to happen. And also Doug was interested in having at the street fair something to do with the ECFR as far as education. So we're kind of planning something in that vein too.
Great,
So,
good.
yeah.
When we first acquired the ECFR, I don't even remember if this is accurate, I'm pretty sure it is. People were excited about it, education purposes, but I think there were two different eco-tour groups who took people up there.
Yeah.
For a fee.
Okay.
We're a private company, we get a deal for you, give us this much money, we'll take you on a tour and teach you about the ECFR. That rubbed some of us the wrong way.
Yeah.
we're
A
not,
lot of us, no, yeah,
It's
that's what we have to be really careful.
education and, eco-tour, and anyway, it just.
Yeah.
It's like.
No.
we won't be having any other vehicles driving up to the ECF.
No, that is the last
These
thing.
guys actually walked in, but they still had to pay their leader.
Yeah,
No, that's not, the thrust of it is,
I'm just telling you a story.
no, yeah, and that's interesting to know because yeah, what we really want to do is educate them into how we can help preserve it, restore it and not commercialize it.
Right.
So, yeah.
and that's a real difficult balance to
Yeah.
achieve, so we always need to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure we will.
Well, Doug is talking very much about the way the native cultures look at land, and that's so beautiful. And it's the way we could connect it with the center, because the center is going to be,
Right.
influenced by the tribe.
Right.
And so it seems to be a perfect match.
In fact, Doug would be a really good speaker to have during our 12 days.
I'm working on that.
Okay, yeah. He's very,
Yeah,
great,
he was,
very passionate.
and he's so sweet to help us out. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's good with children.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
All right.
anything else?
Say, Barb, this is Les. Just a question. You remember the puffin artwork that you
Yes.
had available? You sent me at least a picture of it. Is there any way I could get hold of the detailed high resolution piece?
Yeah, I have it. And we have permission from the artist to use it.
Okay.
In whatever that word is. Perpetuity.
Good.
There you go.
Perpetuity.
There you go. Thank you, guys.
Who is the artist? Can I ask?
Ram Papish. He's from Newport and he's done he gave us that artwork many years ago and said we could use it forever we haven't used it the last 2 years. I mean, 2 years ago, we didn't really have a celebration and this year or last year, we kind of organized it quickly and kind of forgot about it, but it's still there. So any other questions, comments or anything?
Barb, this is your last meeting, so I'd like to thank you for all your hard work that you've done for the Parks Committee. City staff has always enjoyed working with you, and I hope the next person that's in charge does as good as you. It's going to be some hard shoes to fill. So good luck on your next adventure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Barb.
Thanks.
And I encourage you to apply for a vacancy on the Parks Committee in 8 years.
Welcome back.
Okay.
I realize this was your last time. I thought we had till January.
No, this is it.
You can move the Parks meeting up.
Okay.
Take over till the first Tuesday in.
Which is the third, yeah. So,
Oh, I'm being on the second.
yeah.
Make a motion to change the meeting.
Oh,
I will.
Okay, thank you very much. And remember that I will help you guys with anything I can,
You, Barb.
unofficially. Yeah.
So how do we get someone to fill your shoes? Is that something that the next meeting we
The
would on the
January-
agenda? we would
January meeting,
Nominate?
yeah, we nominate chair and then, and
Will there be a vacancy that we need to fill?
it's already been filled. Anna.
Oh, that's right.
Right,
Okay.
yeah,
Anna.
Yeah. Hannah Boshirt.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then, again, let's keep Stacy and her family in our thoughts and prayers.
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay.
I need to get her info too.
Okay, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.